no fear, we'll never die. Dungeons and Dragons, all battles begun. Into the darkness we will run. Raise the sword, cast the spell. In the dungeon's depths we rise or fall in hell. Dungeons and Dragons, the fate's in our hands. Fight through the chaos, take a stand. For honor, for glory, we ride the storm. In the heart of the dungeon where legends are born. The goblins creep in the starlit gloom. Undead soldiers march to their doom. We face the fiends, the dark abyss. A dragon's roar we never miss. The sorcerer's power, the warrior's blade. The bard's sweet songs, the rogue's crusade. From the tombs to the shattered sky, we'll stand as one, we'll never die. Through the labyrinth of doom we fight. In the dark we strike like a beast in the night. Dragons soaring in the sky. No retreat, no fear, we'll never die. Dungeons and Dragons, all battles begun. Into the darkness we will run. Raise the sword, cast the spell. In the dungeon's depths we rise or fall in hell. Dungeons and Dragons, the fate's in our hands. Fight through the chaos, take a stand. For honor, for glory, we ride the storm. In the heart of the dungeon where legends are born. Ancient ones in the lair await, while shadows stalk our every fate. But we'll never falter, never kneel. With every roll our destiny seal. In the forge of fire, in the storm of steel, we fight for glory, we fight to heal. Let the dungeons tremble and fall. We rise, we conquer, we stand tall. Dungeons and Dragons, all battles begun. Into the darkness we will run. Raise the sword, cast the spell. In the dungeon's depths we rise or fall in hell. Dungeons and Dragons, the fate's in our hands. Fight through the chaos, take shadows stalk our every fate, but we'll never falter, never kneel. With every roll our destiny seal. In the forge of fire, in the storm of steel, we fight for glory, we fight to heal. Let the dungeons tremble and fall. We rise, we conquer, we stand tall. Dungeons and dragons, our battles begun. Into the darkness we will run. Raise the sword, cast the spell. In the dungeon steps, we rise or fall in hell. Dungeons and dragons, fate in our hands. Fight through the chaos, take a stand. For honor, for glory, we ride the storm. In the heart of the dungeon, where legends are born. Through the fire, through the pain, we'll forge our names and break the chains. Dungeons and dragons, forever we fight. In the heart of the dungeon, we claim the night. In the shadows where the torch
I hate this shit. It's so easy with Streamlabs because I have my Stream Deck and I'll make sure to do it every single fucking time. But because of OBS being a different software, I can't use the Stream Deck for Slobs and for OBS. All right. Take
So
two.
we'll just chop that in before
Bloopers.
putting it on anything.
Yeah.
Put it on the blooper reel. That and every other time we do that because you know it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen every fucking time.
Oh yeah. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to the first kinda episode of the Above Table podcast. We're your hosts, Fish and Havoc.
Kinda is a somewhat generous way to put that, introspect in the fact of this being our second attempt at a podcast.
Yeah, second attempt, different name, smaller crew. Is what it is. In this episode, with that, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about ourselves, our thoughts on D&D 2024, our feelings on some homebrew content, and we're going to take a look at a couple of segments that we'd like to bring your experiences into. So, I'll go first. My name's Fish. I'm a Gemini, and I don't really care for long walks on the beach because I could be spending that time using or playing TTRPGs.
I guess that just leaves me, Havoc here, resident toxic troll overall. Oh, I guess wrong kind of content. My apologies. I'll save that for the other channel.
I don't even want to ask. So, instead, I'm just going to get right into it. What are your... we've had it for a little bit of time now, so what are you thinking, honestly, about 2024 versus original 5e rules?
So, I honestly, my thought is that it shouldn't even be 5th edition. It should be 6th. With how much they are changing certain things, roll it out in 5th, go on to 6th. If you want to keep the content going for 5th because it's great, it still works, then do that. But don't just roll it into a completely new, into an old system, reworking everything. That's my thought.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, but honestly, it really just feels like 90% of it is reprint from 5th edition, and the things that they did change were mostly worse. I mean, you've got your healing spells that have gotten better, but
There are certain spells that got a significant buff. Sleep. Oh, fucking sleep is great now.
okay, I'll give you that, but at the same time, we also don't get racial bonuses anymore. Like, that's not a thing. They've taken a lot of stuff away there.
Yeah, but having feats inputted into backgrounds now, so that way you don't have to be a variant human for that level 1 feat.
True. Okay, I'll give you that one. Maybe if they call it 5.5.
I could agree to a 5.5. I could agree to
Alright.
that one.
Now,
But it really does feel like a money grab.
it really does. Now, what I've been doing at my table, and you know this because you play at my table, I've been letting people pick which rules they want to use for their spells. And it seems like everybody but the cleric is really preferring those old rules.
Well, to be fair, you have one player who has no need for spells. I wonder who that is.
We've been in this for 7 minutes. And I'm already rubbing my eyes at you.
It just sounds like I need to do a better job next time and make it sooner.
You know what? I guess, let's see, 7 minutes this time. You got to go for 5 next.
Yep. Makes sense.
Now, anything else on 2024, really, though? I think you pretty well covered it. I think a 5.5 would have been the way to go with it.
I think that they are trying, and it's just not what I guess not what some of the community, most of the community, is asked for. There's a lot of other things that are like fixing certain classes or making them somewhat more. I guess they are fixing, but they're also nerfing to the ground certain classes.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't play martial classes very often, and I don't really look at the rules often for them because I don't have a lot of people that play them at my tables. But it feels like those got nerfed pretty heavily, just as a general rule.
I haven't looked much of the. In all honesty, for the class introspect of the 2024, I've only looked at one single class, and that's because tried and true warlock. That's my go-to class. I don't like how they changed certain things with it. Your invocations, your packs being invocations now that you can take level 1. Your patron, your patron being a choice you make at level 3. I'm not a fan. And we lost you for a second. It's
Yeah,
back
that
now.
was weird. Yep. Don't know what happened there, but I'm back. You know what? I think just to each their own. I'm going to stick with letting my players have a hybrid.
I think that a small mixture of hybrid is good. Like have we seen in your game, the hybrid works when you're doing hybrid spells. When you're trying to do character creation for hybrid, it does not work. It's just innately overall broken.
It is, and that's why I'm looking at changing up the system that I use entirely. Honestly, but well, you've seen some of the things that I'm looking at.
Ooh,
It's got a long way to
I'm a
go.
little excited for that system that you're making, just because I'm a big fan of the world overall. But I'll let
Oh,
you
I'm-
I'll let you
Yeah.
get into that one. As we move on to our
I'll get into that one later. I think speaking of making our own systems and whatnot, though, I think we should talk about some homebrew.
well,
Right.
what in specific are we talking about? Homebrew rules, homebrew classes, subclasses, classes, subclasses, races.
I mean, all of it. Homebrew items, homebrew races. I know you've got a few homebrew classes that you've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to hear about here.
I actually recently just finished up a homebrew. It was a homebrew that I had started years ago. I couldn't understand some of the stuff I was trying to write, and so I took inspiration from someone else's homebrew and kind of changed it and made it my own, because their inspiration was a reskinned warlock. Not a fan of reskins. So
Is this what I think it is?
it's the shaman.
Oh, okay.
Are you talking about the
No, I was talking about the shaman.
oh yeah. Yeah, it was 100% before I got my hands on it, a reskinned warlock. It somewhat takes ideals and I can't think of the word. Inspiration from the warlock, but I changed it to be its own thing. Like it straight up had before I got my hands, it straight up had the pact feature being Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Tome, and a slight variation of Pact of the Blade. And I changed that a little bit. And I'm gonna be trying to get some people's opinions on it soon.
No, I'm glad to hear you changed that, because that's literally just core rules warlock.
Yeah, it's now got 3 different pact options. One being akin to Druid Wild Shape. The other one being akin to Barbarian Rage, but very different. It's similar, but very different.
I'm excited to see that one. I'd really rather see it at a table that we're both players at.
Yes. I don't know. You might be seeing it a little bit early. I'm not gonna say too much about that one, but
Oh, really?
my lips are sealed on that one.
But now you got my curiosity.
Guess you'll find out.
Guess so. Yeah.
Enough about my homebrew. What you created anything? You started working on anything besides the system?
So I've been very heavily focused on that system for the past almost a month now. Or at least it feels that way. But before that, most of my homebrew has all been items, and I have created so many magic items for the most mundane things. For instance, there's a series of rings in my world in D&D that you are somewhat familiar with, that are all just retakes on Rings of Spell Story.
Mm-hmm.
It it takes the idea of a ring of spell storing, but because I use spell points in my world and not spell slots, it allows a little bit more versatility. So you can store, say,
Wait.
anywhere from 3 to.
I know this is because I'm a player, but use spell points, spell slots. What's the difference?
So, kind of glad you asked that. So, spell points are a way to allow a little bit more versatility in spellcasting. Now, with spell slots, say you get 4 level 1, 3 level 2, 3 level 3. Right? That's great and all. With spell points, you can take that, and all you have to do is take the total number of each level of spell slot that you have and multiply that number by the number of spell slots that you have. So say you've got 3 level 3, that's 3 times 3 is 9, and then add it together with all of your other ones. So 9 plus 6 plus 4 is 19, right? You have 19 spell points then that you can spend on your spells however you want. The caveat to that is you can still only cast up to a 3rd level spell because that's all that you could do anyway. But now I can cast 6 3rd level spells at whatever level I get those spell slots at.
That's interesting, and it is actually like it allows for a lot of different versatility, and I enjoy it. I think that might be something that I might start including in mine.
Now, not to talk too much about the system that I'm not ready to share with the world entirely yet, but that was maybe a little bit of a concealed trial run for certain parts of the mechanics.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I've got rings in the world that range from 3 spell points, like you would get in a normal ring of spell storing, all the way up to 12. Now, those are going to be real hard to get a hold of, but they exist. And
Yeah.
the BBEG usually has at least one.
Yeah, we know they exist.
Hey, she only killed Azus a little bit.
No, this is the fact we he dispelled one.
Oh, yeah, when you dispelled one. That was a ruby ring, if I remember correctly,
Yeah,
which holds 7.
Yeah. Makes me sad.
I'm glad. I am genuinely so happy with that. Yeah, but homebrew is a lot of fun. It's also a lot of work to balance it correctly, but I think it adds life to a D&D world. So that's just generally my thoughts on it.
No, I agree with that. You've seen the way I run my world. I can't do my world without homebrew. I can't.
Your world is like 90% homebrew.
I'd say 75. I still keep to a good bit of core.
Yeah,
I just change rules.
You change all of the rules.
I change all of the rules, and I'm allowed to. I'm the DM.
You are. It's your world. You're the DM.
What is your favorite homebrew item that you've created?
Oh, favorite homebrew item I've created. Actually, I have one that you may become familiar with tomorrow, as of this recording. Because we're doing a little bit of a special session, what with the holiday tomorrow, and it's going to be reskinned. But I had a game that I played when my daughter was 5 years old. It was her and a couple of our friends who were like babysitters and close family friends, and my wife. And it was just teach the kid how to play D&D. And my but one of my friends, his name's Casey, was playing an Aarakocra monk.
Oh god. Oh god.
And because of that, he had the inherent ability to speak to other species of bird, right?
Uh-huh.
So I created just an annoying recurring group of characters called the Vulgar Ducks. And they didn't speak in common, they only spoke in a bird language. So they would just show up randomly. Casey would try to talk to them as his Aarakocra monk, and they would say something that was vulgar enough that I couldn't say it out loud in front of my child, and then they would leave. And it was just a thing. You could expect them to show up sometimes 2 or 3 times in a session. I think that or actually in the same campaign, because kids allow you to be so creative and also so stupid with what you do. I created a homebrew version of the Hamburglar from McDonald's lore. Like that is the character it was based off of, and it had a giant, like, squeaky hammer, and it dealt squeaky damage.
Squeaky
And
damage.
Squeaky damage.
Is that like
Not bludgeoning.
psychic but not
It was to, again, Casey with his 12 HP Aarakocra monk. It one-shot him.
by squeaky damage?
Hey, you know what? The kid
Okay.
loved it. He thought it was hilarious. So, I'm not going to complain.
All right.
That's I think my favorite things that I've ever created. Leading into that'll lead us into, though, I think, another little segment that I want to get into, where we talk about. We're not going to do this today because we don't have anyone sending us in anything yet. Hopefully, after this episode goes live, we'll get some emails. But that brings me into like a segment. I want to call it like the weekly thing of the week. You know, something stupid like that.
Okay.
And I just want to talk about something in homebrew, in D&D core, in Pathfinder, or any other TTRPG, because we're not D&D exclusive here. It's just where we have the most experience. And I want to talk about just one thing that could really get more attention. So, do you have anything for that?
I mean, I have a lot of things. There's so many things. But I'm assuming that you're talking about the little tyrant I went on before we started this. A certain
Yeah,
class.
I actually put it in the show notes next to this thing, so that we could come back to it and discuss it.
Yeah. Rangers. Don't
Now,
get me
what
started.
about Rangers?
Like, Rangers are a alright class. Alright in the aspect of, have you ever looked at the Ranger and be like, I want to hit level 20 in that?
Honestly, no. I see Ranger as I take 1 or 2 levels in Ranger if I'm going to use it, just to get the dex bonus, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And the proficiencies.
So you would say it's a good multi-class, but as a primary class, it's a lot of meh.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, it's just, when you look at fighter and barbarian and any of the martial classes, you're like, oh, that level 20 ability, Indomitable Might or whatever for, was barbarian, where you just get to make your whatever. If you roll anything lower than your overall strength score, that just becomes your score. That it becomes your ability check. That seems really good. Ranger, Like, seriously? What even is the Ranger ability for 5th edition for Max?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up real quick.
It's give me a second.
And I'm gonna look at the legacy rules for this one.
You become an unparalleled hunter to your enemies. You get to add your wisdom modifier to attack rolls and damage rolls against your favorite enemy. And you can use this. You can use this before or after. Cool, whatever. That does not feel like a level 20 ability.
No, that feels like something I'd expect to get at like
11?
level 8, level
11? 8 to 11?
probably. Yeah, maybe 12. Past 12, it's just kind of whatever. It's cool.
18th ability is not the greatest either. When you attack a creature you can't see, your ability to see doesn't impose disadvantage. All right, cool.
That would also be a great 11 or 12 level ability.
Uh-huh. Don't get me wrong, Rangers get access to some pretty nice spells, like the Endless Quiver spell, but you can get that as multiclassing and break it.
And if I remember correctly, though, with the Endless Quiver, that doesn't even matter at most tables because most people don't track ammunition anyway.
Yes, but there's also the fact that you can break it not for the fact that it is an Endless Quiver at all. And I created a what is it to get the access to that spell?
I'm not sure.
17th. So at 17th level, I think is the max. Oh, hang on. Let me look up the spell real quick because it's been a while. If I'm not mistaken, it is spell. Oh, is it Swift Quiver? Yeah. So you get access to it at 5th level spells. It means that a level 17 Ranger can use the Endless Quiver ability to just create an amount of infinite arrows with the aspect of putting an immovable rod on a quiver. You put the arrows into the quiver. I already see you holding your bridge. Yeah, you put an immovable rod into the quiver, and you make it so that way the quiver does not move, and then you cast Catapult on the quiver, which will launch all the arrows. But because it's an endless amount for the next 1 minute... I'm sorry, what were you saying about 1 minute of combat for most difficult challenges? Typically once per session, right?
Yeah. That should be... Your longest combat should last about 1.5 minutes in game. If it's going longer than that, that's just your entire session.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
leave it to you to take a class that is frequently viewed as just kind of meh and absolutely break it. That is...
I skirt around the rules as written, and if I can get away with it doing as rules as written, it seems good.
If I keep banning you from playing classes at my table, you're just gonna start having to play a peasant.
I'll
But
break that
no,
too.
even then you'll break
Peasant,
it.
a peasant railgun.
No peasant railgun. That was specifically outlawed in D&D 2024.
It's Havoc's hidden talent.
It is Havoc's hidden talent. And it brings me a headache most weeks. But it also gives me a lot of good reasons to target your character and do things like I did last time. On the island.
Uh-huh.
You got overrun with elementals, and dear old dad killed you.
What was the aspect of you're like, I don't want you to wail on this creature. Wisdom save. Fuck.
Yep, make a wisdom save.
But that's kind of the drawbacks of playing a martial is you don't have those mental.
Yeah, because you have to put it all into your physical stats. But, I mean, your character in that one wouldn't really be able to up his wisdom anyway, to be honest.
I mean, no, not really. Not really. Wisdom is his best stat of the three mental.
Honestly, he could up his charisma easier than most of the characters. But, yeah. Wisdom saves are awesome when you're playing as a DM with martial classes in your party.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at the time, it looks like we've been going about half an hour. I think my target for a podcast episode is going to be 40 to 45 minutes. Keep it a little bit shorter for people.
Okay.
Make it so they don't have to sit there and listen to us for too long. With that in mind, I think we ought to go ahead and leave the Rangers behind and view breaking classes constantly. And get into the last little bit that I want to kind of touch on, and something that I really want people to send me in their thoughts and experiences on. This topic, I'm going to come up with a name for it, but right now I'll just call it a niche ruling. So what I'm looking for is times where you had something really cool planned out as a player, or something really unique happened as a DM, and it was ruled one way, but you don't really know if it was the right way. So you send us the situation, and we'll take a look at it from our perspectives as two different DMs with wildly different DMing styles, and see what we would think about it.
Okay.
Now, for this one, it's going to be a simpler one because I found this one on the D&D subreddit, actually. And I just want to hear your take on how this DM ruled this. It's about the spell, or the cantrip, mind you, Vicious Mockery.
Okay.
This DM has ruled that most monsters aren't affected by Vicious Mockery. The specific wording that they used, though, is they're not affected by Vicious Mockery because they can't hear.
That's...
Now, I have thoughts, but first I want to say I think what they were going for is most monsters don't speak common.
I think that is a better way to put it.
But it's still, at least in my opinion, it is still just very much the wrong ruling.
Even then, looking at the cantrip blurb for Vicious Mockery, it doesn't even matter. The effect of it is you unleash a string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at a creature you can see within range. If the target can hear you, though it need not understand you, it must succeed a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage and have a disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn.
Like, very clearly laid out, specifically, it says that it doesn't need to understand you. Now, there was a comment made on this Reddit post that I thoroughly agree with this person's take because it's written there clear as day in the rules. This person commented, and I'm not going to use their name because it's mildly inappropriate for slightly family-friendly content. But this person's comment is, damn, it must be really easy to sneak up on all the permanently deafened monsters in your DM's game.
Like, if that were the case, it's just, you know how much shenanigans a rogue could get away with? They'd never not have sneak attack.
Nope.
Ever.
Always have sneak attack.
It's just not the case. I will state that, like, one of the things I don't allow in my game, it just sounds like the DM doesn't know how to not deal with something he does not find enjoyable. Okay, like, case in point, I am a firm believer that I hate bards. I hate bards. Not because of anything about bards in particular, it's just the fact that the people who play them, and I am included in this, break the ever-living shit out of them. And I'm looking at you, Fish. I'm looking at you.
Hey, you are the one who decided to allow me to play a bard at your table, and I promised you when you allowed this that I would not break it too much. Like, I left that caveat in there, like, I might break it a little bit. I'm not going to break it too much, though.
Yeah, and you're also playtesting a new subclass.
I am, and that new subclass, combined with the race that you let me play, is inherently broken.
I know, and I've given you everything in your tools to break it. But just know that I know how to break things too.
You know, I get that.
What
you
are
know
your...
how I get that?
Oh, go
I
ahead.
DM for you too.
Fair. What are your thoughts on Silvery Barbs?
Silvery Barbs, honestly, I don't think I've ever had a player try to use Silvery Barbs in a session. Ever.
Really?
So I'm not familiar with the ruling on that. Let me go ahead and look at it.
Okay. It's an interesting spell. It's interesting. I've had a couple people use it. I've used it myself too. And you'll see it when Moodle starts her campaign.
All right, so looking at the spell Silvery Barbs, the text reads verbatim. You magically distract the triggering creature and turn its momentary uncertainty into encouragement for another creature. The triggering creature must re-roll the d20 and use the lower roll.
Mm-hmm.
You can then choose a different creature you can see within range. You can choose yourself. The chosen creature has advantage on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute, so 10 rounds.
So
the creature
way
can be empowered by only one use at a time.
The way that it works is you use your reaction to take someone's ability or attack or saving throw and give them disadvantage while also giving your ally advantage.
So, yeah. Okay. My immediate thought is that can become very broken very quickly. Let's see. It doesn't state what the save is on this spell.
I think that with your spell point system,
it would be 1 spell point for Silvery Barbs.
That's the thing. There is no save. It's not a
It's not.
save.
It's just you give them disadvantage and yourself advantage.
At the cost of a spell point.
60 feet.
At the cost of a spell on a reaction.
Okay. You know, looking at this, I think an average player could use it to solid effect without causing too many problems for a DM.
I
However,
know where you're going with this.
I think a player of your caliber and your understanding of the game would be able to break it by third level.
You don't. It's a level 1 spell. Don't even need third level. Give it to me. Level
Oh,
1.
I know, but you only get two spell slots, 2 spell points at first level. You need to get to third level to get 4 of them. By the time you've got all 4 of your first level spell slots, someone who knows what they're doing can absolutely change the tide of any battle with it.
Yeah. It's a decent. It is a decent spell. It is really good. I think that if they're trying to do a rebalance, as they've stated with all of the other stuff that they're doing with 2024, one of the things that they rebalance with this is make it a save.
I think Silvery Barbs needs to be a save.
Yeah. If it's a
I
save,
would agree.
it changes drastically.
It does. It takes it from it being stupidly overpowered for a first level spell to being, if they fail to save, that's a huge shift in momentum in the combat.
Mhm.
Which is what you want. It's
And-
very overpowered. Now, at the same time, though, I have to mention any DM with any level of experience should be able to work around things like Silvery Barbs. Like, you really should have ways around it. If you have a player that is going to use it and break it, you should be aware of that, and you should be able to work around it. Because your goal is for everybody at the table to have fun.
Right.
That's my thought. I think making it a save, though, is the way to go. Now, let's see. I think we've still got a couple of minutes, so why don't we go ahead and talk about what's happening in Asgard for a minute? Since
So
that's the world associated with this podcast before we go ahead and
right,
head on out.
what's happening in Asgard is that we are currently set to go live with our next session December 8th. As for what's happening, well, I still got to do character levels with all of you guys. Well, most of you. I also need to figure out what I'm going to do about the rest of the table. I'm still trying to figure out the kinks with some of our other players that were supposed to start the campaign, and they weren't there for very long. And then we've currently had 2 guest characters, being Moodles and Octo. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to bring them on full time, or if I'm going to try to get someone new, or see if they're going to rejoin. I think that with the way I left the session on Sunday, I think it leaves an open end for Zevlin and Amaya, and I did that on purpose. I kind of very enjoy the way I left that. As for Asgard in particular, I think I like where it's headed, and I can't wait to see more.
You know, I couldn't agree more with that last statement. Now, something that you could do if you want to keep Zevlin and Nemea for a little bit before bringing back characters that were supposed to start the campaign. And I'm really hoping that Octo isn't listening in on this.
No, Octo very much is.
Well, then Octo, plug your ears. Um, but I think something that I would consider as a DM is picking both the character and the player of these guest characters that would have the hardest time emotionally in a good way with the losses, and then kill off the other one in a session or two.
Ooh. Ooh.
Like, give them just enough time to start to recover, and then kill off one of them.
Okay. Ooh. I like that idea a lot.
I am a very, very giving DM. You've known this, but I am not afraid to make people cry.
And that will make someone cry.
At least one person there.
At least.
Now, on that
On that note.
little bit of cruelty that I've sprinkled in, I think it's time we wrap it up for the day, and we'll go ahead and finish up the recording, and then we'll chat with anybody else that wants to talk for a little bit, and maybe keep that as a
So
little extra.
I like the little extra. I am.
Yeah. Like,
That
we finish the
seems-
podcast recording here after this outro, and then we have a little bit extra to entice people to stick around for the Twitch and YouTube stuff.
So, speaking of, weekly thing of the week, do you have any plans for what you want to discuss next week?
You know, I'm thinking on it, but I think I'd like to hit the niche rulings and the weekly thing of the week every week, if
Okay.
possible. I
Well,
think
Well, this
I want
is.
to talk about session planning
Oh God.
and how
Oh, God.
we do our session planning differently, because that is one of our biggest differences as DMs.
Oh, you're just gonna put me on blast like that. Okay. All right.
Bring all of the binders. We want to see it.
I don't wanna.
But yeah, I'll go ahead and we'll call it there. And I'm gonna say thanks for everybody who has decided to listen. We will have extra content on the YouTube and on Twitch every week when we do these recordings. We will be trying to record every week.
This will actually be the VOD will be ripped and it will be going on to YouTube. And this will probably be the first video on YouTube because I haven't gotten around to doing the sessions because I was supposed to have someone who's one of our other players, and he actually hasn't even done a single session with us. So I got to figure that out.
Yeah. No, there's things that we can do with it, and then we'll have to rip the audio from it and figure out how to get it on Spotify as well, or anywhere else that podcasts can be listened to, because we haven't even figured that part out yet. You know, going into this with all the planning in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just kind of
So-
flying by the seats of our.
yeah, we'll get there though. It'll be great. It'll be perfect. But thanks again, everybody. If you have any submissions for the homebrew or the weekly thing of the week or a niche ruling that you want us to take a look at, or if you just have any questions, comments, or any ideas for the podcast, please feel free to email it to hattpodcast@gmail.com.
Currently on the screen below us.
Or you can private message the Hellions at the Table Twitch channel,
We all
and
have
one of us will see it.
we all have access to it. We all have editor and everything for it, so that way we can be able to make the changes as need be. Um,
Or
I
third place, you can leave it in the comments on YouTube.
yep. I I will be uh rolling out the shaman class and a druid subclass that I actually just designed this week, and we'll get into more of that probably next session when we go to our homebrew, if we talk about homebrew. I'm excited for it, but I will be rolling that out into a link on our about station or about section if you guys are interested.
Yep.
But that enough of everything Hellions related. Fish, what are you doing with your with your content? Come on.
What content are we talking about here?
You know, when are you going live again?
Oh, you're talking about when I'm going to stream again?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, because I need a good game to stream. Right?
Good
Like-
multiplayer, good single player, good single multiplayer or single player.
Yes, and I'm actually kind of thinking I might want to get back into some Power World or something.
I actually have a game for you because I know that you've been losing your life to simulators, and I'd be willing to play this with you. There is another simulator, and it is multiplayer. It is Tavern and Ale, I think. It's
Hold on, let me pull up Steam because I think I've seen this one.
it's a simulator of opening a tavern with friends.
This one's one of those freemium games, isn't it?
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's free. But it's like $7, if I'm not mistaken. Ale and Tail Tavern. It is currently $10 on Steam.
I might have to take a look into that because I would absolutely be willing to play it with you. I'm also thinking of maybe playing Power World again. It's been a long time, and they've made a lot of changes to that one. Outside of that, I'm still. Look, I've been spending so much time in the weeds on this new Magic system.
Yeah.
Oh, that is American Trucking Simulator.
Now you're getting into the. Now you're getting into the.
Oh, they've got a trial of the Ale and Tail Tavern too.
Okay.
It's like a they've got an online co-op. I need to get that video to stop playing. I can't think. No, it's got First Pint's like a trial run, sort of. Here, you can download this to play and see if you like it. That is also multiplayer.
All right.
So, I'll download that right now, and we can look at that, and then I will buy it if we like it. The art style kind of reminds me of Hydroneer, which I will say with no shame is a game that I've put multiple hours into. But let's see, okay, no, I'm still doing that. Sakari Power World would be lots of fun with everybody.
I have been wanting to get back into Power World. I have been.
But let's take a look at this Ale and Tail Tavern thing. Maybe we can do that as a Hellions joint stream at some point as well. Just like a stupid little, hey, let's all play this tavern game and
We'd have to see how many players it's available up to.
I would guess that it's available for up to 4.
Sorry, I'm doing something that I should have done a while ago. All right, it's fixed.
Oh, what'd you do?
Added
Did you have our names on backwards?
No, I added the moderators to Stream Elements.
Ah, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right. Anything else you wanting to discuss, or is this just free open mic?
This is free open mic for a few minutes before we go ahead and end the stream and rip the VOD.
Okay.
And then we got to rip parts of the VOD out because things need to go into a blooper reel.
Yeah. We need someone who can do that, though. I gotta yell at Ogre.
Ogre can still be involved even if he doesn't want to play. He can be the video editor if he wants.
Octo, you still need the commands haven't been created. I just added you to the ability to do the commands.
We need to create those commands because the so command not working is...
Yeah.
We've
Also,
already got our own tech issues right now.
Also, what do we want to do about alerts? Do we want the alerts to go?
I think we need to set high limits for the alerts to go because they're going to be distracting if people were to spam things. So I think we set the alerts at a high limit or a very limited number of things that will actually play audio on the stream.
Okay.
I think most of them should not. Also, I love this water bottle.
Oh.
I want to see if we can't get some sort of a sponsorship. You know?
With
Oh, I just got a bunch of texts from Moodles because she's out working right now. And she had to go pick up an order from a grocery store for somebody, and was kind of sketched out by a dude in the grocery store parking lot. So she was getting ready to call me if he was still out there when she left the store. But she just texted me a few minutes ago saying, "Oh, never mind. The guy that I was worried about is actively getting arrested." So that's nifty.
Jesus. What the hell? That's actively getting arrested. Okay.
Yeah, like in handcuffs, the cops were putting him in a car.
Next question that I have about the channel is, do we want to open up the Discord?
I think we hide the channels that we currently have for us, or lock them down so that they're view only for regular people coming in. And then, yeah, I think we open it up and we put it attached to this, attached to the YouTube, and attached to any other social media we do.
Okay. I will actually... No, all right, I'll get to working on that then. I do... There's definitely some channels in there that cannot be view only. Like, at all. Whatsoever. I might...
There are some things that need to just not be seen by anybody.
Nothing...
And I mean anybody.
Nothing crazy like that. It's just all of the accounts, the different account informations and stuff like that. Mainly in particular,
Yeah.
that channel in particular.
Yeah, no, that should not be available unless you are an admin or a streamer, like
One of our...
a Hellions Table
Yeah.
streamer.
Oh, God damn it. Thank you,
But-
Octo. I appreciate you.
But with all that said, and with all of our stuff that we've looked at and talked about today, I think it's about time for us to end the stream now.
Are we ending or are we raiding?
Well, do we have anyone to raid?
I don't currently see anyone online.
I have a few people online, but none of them that are really D&D people.
Yeah, that's how it is for me. None of them D&D related. We can hit someone that's D&D
Well,
related.
So I'm gonna look up this group right now, actually, because there is a very small channel that honestly their production value doesn't look too bad. They're all staring at their phones right now, though. I wonder if that's D&D Beyond related. Oh, and they just went live like half an hour ago.
All right, send me their information. Nah.
DMing.
Oh my god.
They are verified accounts only, so if you have the same issue that I do with the verification process, we will not be able to chat, unfortunately.
Oh, I was actually just looking at them.
Yeah.
It also looks like they're on episode 2 of a one shot.
I've been there.
Episode. I've done that. I turned a one shot into 5 session because I had total faith in my party and to get through an entire module that was designed for between level 7 to 10. They were level 15. They took 5 sessions.
Ouch.
So, but, also, there's the fact Octo pointed out some stuff. I just followed your stuff, your typing, and the words are misspelled. We're not the greatest spellers. Niche is supposed to have an E at the end.
It is. In fact, I'm pretty sure it does in the show notes.
It does not. I checked.
What idiot typed out the show notes?
I believe that's the idiot co-hosting with me.
There, I fixed it.
All right, but yes, herding cats. Herding cats is my favorite pastime. I mean, what?
No herding cats. Oh, herding.
Herding, not hurting. Herding. Oh, dude, the things I've done to some parties because they just wasted my time.
Oh, I feel that.
All right, but we're gonna rate out to Dragon Crew
Productions.
Productions. Okay. Misadventures of the Dragon Crew. They seem interesting. I'm currently listening into them on my other computer.
Yep. Unfortunately, I won't be able to chat, so I will go ahead and say
What?
goodbye to everybody.
Why not? How are you not?
Because I have the verified accounts glitch where because my phone number is already associated with my account, I can't verify my account with my phone number.
Oh, that's dumb as shit.
Yep. Although that's an idea. I might try something. Not tonight, but
How do Octo, can you post the raid message quickly? Peace and thank you.
quick.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right.